I'm Barry Trammell, and finally we know what all those sabers in College Station are for. They're threatening to leave the Big 12 Conference.
Yep, they're rattling them pretty good in College Station. We're going to talk about that here on the press row from the Opopka Studios. I'm Jenny Carlson. Barry, it's true, the saber rattling is really going in earnest. Now, this all started with Texas Governor Rick Perry talking about the possibility of there being conversation. It didn't sound like he knew, frankly, all that much firsthand, but it's got people talking again.
Well, I think Texas A&M is talking to the SEC. I think Texas A&M is talking to anybody that'll listen, that they're tired of the Longhorns and they're not going to take it anymore. You really can't blame them. The Longhorn Network is a sort of a thorn in the flesh to the Sooners and the Cowboys and the Missouri Tigers, maybe even to Texas Tech. But the Aggies have to live with the Longhorns. That's a heated rivalry. It's in-state. They share courtrooms and boardrooms and schoolrooms. And when you got to live with somebody like that, it's a little bit more difficult to swallow when they have such a perceived advantage as the Longhorn Network. So A&M is doing one of two things, and maybe both, which is they're threatening to go to the SEC, trying to shape some concessions out of Texas, or they're really going to go. It's a little like World War I. If you stand around and threaten about it, all of a sudden somebody shoots the Archduke of Ferdinand, and World War I goes out.
Here's my question for people in College Station, Texas A&M decision makers. Do you like to win? Because to me, that's the big question in this whole thing. Do you like to win ball games, and particularly football games? Everybody knows this Big 12 conference is built around the strength of football. If the Aggies like to win football games and want a chance to maybe win championships, conference championships, national championships, you stay in the Big 12 and you make things work in the Big 12. Barry, if they go to the SEC, they're a mid-level team. Stay in the Big 12, they got a chance to contend for a championship probably this year.
Well, and even worse is that you've opened the gates to the barbarians. Give Alabama and LSU and Arkansas and all these teams that love to come into Texas and recruit, you're giving them access to the Texas markets in terms of television and games in their states. It'd be a fool's move for the Aggies, but frankly, they've done kooky things in the past. It's certainly not above their pay grade to pull a stunt like this. And like I said, you can't blame A&M for being upset. But I think the best mode of attack for A&M is to try to stare down Texas.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they've shown might because they've got 8 other teams that are right there with them in terms of frustration over the Longhorn Network, frustration over some of the antics that Texas seems to be trying to pull elsewise. They've got the rest of the conference right there with them. So there is that position of strength in the Big 12. I don't know what's going to happen, Barry, but that would be my message to Texas A&M. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.